So I keep making videos about Hagerstown, but today we're going to talk about the pros and cons of living there. So make sure you stay tuned to the end where we talk about all the good, the bad, the ugly, all the things that you need to know if you're thinking about moving or living in Hagerstown. So we're going to just jump right in. So the cons of living in Hagerstown, we're going to start with the not so great stuff first. Living in Hagerstown, there is limited job opportunities. So there's not a lot of huge employers up there. So if you're looking for new opportunities, Hagerstown might not be the best place for you. Public transportation is also not great in Hagerstown. It's not a large city, so there's not a whole lot of infrastructure to get you around to a whole lot of places when it comes to public transportation. One of the other cons that some people see, especially if you're not from the area, is the weather. You're going to get all four seasons here. Hagerstown, there is the Blue Ridge Mountains right there, so the winter times, they can be pretty harsh at times. And then also with us being where we are in Maryland, and we are, I guess, technically the South. But in the summertime, it's going to get hot. You're going to get days that are going to be 90 up to 100 degrees. It gets hot in the summertime. It is what it is. We get all four seasons here. One of the other cons is you can get some traffic here. There are some major roadways that run you all around the United States, and depending on what time it is, especially during rush hour, you can get kind of crushed in some traffic. Another con is there is a limited nightlife. Hagerstown is great, but once again, it's not this huge metropolis. It's not a large city, so nightlife, there's not a whole lot of things to do there after, 9 p.m. And the last major con to being in Hagerstown is when you start looking at education, especially if you're looking at the surrounding counties, surrounding areas, Frederick, Montgomery County, Howard County. Some of these are looked at and ranked as some of the top-rated school systems in the country. For some people moving into the area, if you're looking for these top-ranked and highly popular schools, unfortunately, they're not in Hagerstown. So now we're going to jump into some of the pros of living in Hagerstown. Living in Hagerstown, one of the things that is seen as a major pro is the housing affordability. If you look in some of the surrounding areas, the housing expense is exorbitant. It's really high, and when you start looking at the national numbers, in some of those other places, they far exceed what the national averages are. But in Hagerstown, it's kind of the opposite. So Hagerstown, when it comes to living and housing affordability, that is typically below what the U.S. standard is or the U.S. averages are. So long story short, housing is far more affordable here than it is in just a 20-30 minute drive away from Hagerstown. That's a huge plus. Another pro is the scenic beauty. Hagerstown is a really nice place. You have the Blue Ridge Mountains there. It is a little bit secluded. So once again, not a large city, so there's not a lot of hustle and bustle. You do get a lot of scenic beauty being up here in Hagerstown. I've already mentioned it, but Hagerstown is not a large city, just over 40,000 people. But the great thing about it is your proximity to some of the largest cities in the area. It's probably just a little over an hour to drive from Hagerstown to get down into Washington, D.C., and probably about the same commute to get into Baltimore. For some people who are open to, living in one place and commuting for work to another, it may be attractive to you to consider Hagerstown. One of the pros to living in Hagerstown is there are some actual attractions there. You're going to have cultural attractions as well as some shopping destinations like the outlets up there, the premium outlets in Hagerstown. But you're going to have a lot of cultural attractions as well. A lot of history here. You will have museums, art galleries, all sorts of things like that, performing arts centers. So you have all of those attractions there in Hagerstown as well. And the last pro to living in Hagerstown is the community feel. It is a city that has a nice, vibrant downtown area, so there's things to do, but it's not overly crowded. It's not overly populated. With the size of Hagerstown and the population, it gives people the chance to really get to know one another and create some bonds with their friends and their neighbors. So those are the pros and the cons of living in Hagerstown. It's got a lot of good things going for it. There's also some downside to it. It's just like everything else, some good, some bad. But if you have any more questions or you want to know more about Hagerstown, make sure you check out this video that I did that talks all about what it's like to live in Hagerstown. Catch you on the next video.